Well, thanks for joining us. This is the Military Minute, and I'm Mike Jennings. And we're talking about the military transition and figuring out what you want to do when you grow up. And while I was on active duty, I was having a hard time figuring out what it was that I wanted to do after I got done with the service. I mean, I knew there were a lot of things that I could do. I had heard a lot of the different types of jobs that people with my background were able to get when they came off of active duty. And some of them sounded more appealing than others. But there was always this question of where I was going to live, what were the job requirements going to be, and ultimately would it lead to the life that I really wanted to live in the end. So it was challenging. You know, geographics were an important part of my life. I had a family, I was married, had two children at the time. At the time we were going to get out, and I just wanted to make sure I was doing things the right way. So this was tough. It was difficult to figure out. And certainly as I talked to some of the recruiting firms that specialize in military, they had some different ideas. And ultimately, though, they didn't really help in terms of guiding me what was a fit for me. Mostly it was focused on just effectively going to the buffet and see what you like when you taste it, right? Kind of thing. And I was certainly willing to do that if that was the only way, but it just seemed like there ought to be a better way for me to figure out what was right for me. So I ended up going to this Army class. And it was out in Fort Lee, Virginia, out in Petersburg, which I'm not sure what they call that base now, but the course was teaching us decision theory, and they were using some basics in math to lay out ways of making decisions. And effectively, the concept behind this is what do you do to make a decision when your analysis doesn't give you one specific correct answer? Or in math terms, they say you don't have a discrete answer. How do you get to something that works? And I started realizing as we were talking about this, there's so much in life where you have these types of qualitative decisions. You're never going to get to a decision on this is the exact perfect thing that you're going to make a decision on and be correct. Is that there's a number of correct decisions. It could be a small number, it could be a large number, but ultimately there's some things that are correct. So the method that was used to make this decision was so fascinating because what you would do was establish boundary lines. And the boundary line would say, we know for certain that the answer is not on this side of the line. And so the goal of the process was to first figure out everything that the answer was not, and then whatever was left was where your answer could be found. It may not be the exact, not everything may be the right answer, but everything that is in there is a possibility that it could be the right answer. And coming out of that class, I thought, man, that's kind of the way it is to think about my job search and where it is that I want to go in life. So my process for figuring out what I wanted to do in life after the military started with ultimately going through my entire experience that I knew it to that point and saying, what don't I want from life after the military? Because I don't know what I'm going toward yet. I have no idea. I only know what I'm leaving. I don't know enough. Because nobody in my family had ever done anything like what it is that I had done on active duty, and they didn't have any idea where it was that I was going in the future. So that's what I did. I started drawing lines, and I started saying, okay, what is my boundary on where I want to live? What's my boundary on where I want to do? Do I see myself as a corporate climber who's going to move frequently, or do I see myself as being somebody who is stable? And we started making those choices. And then when it came down to like income, did I see myself as somebody who was interested in a fixed income and the stability from that? Or did I see myself as wanting to be able to define my own worth? So when I got done with all of this and I eliminated everything else, ultimately high commission sales and entrepreneurship is ultimately what came into play for me. specifically because I didn't want to be limited by what I could earn. I didn't want to pick my stuff off a pay chart anymore. I didn't want to climb the corporate ladder and grow and move into other positions and move around the country. My wife and I are both from the same town, and so we wanted to be close enough to them to be able to continue to visit and have our kids know them. And we wanted to be able to control our own fate with all of this. And so the flip side to that was I had to be willing to pay the price to learn how to do something different than what I currently did in order to make that reality come true. And that was such an important lesson to me coming off of active duty and how to make that decision and figure out what was going to be a good fit. And ever since then, I've been advising people on that. And ultimately, we refer to that as, how do you find the thing that's the yes for you? Well, you do it through finding the no. And we look at what doesn't work. And if you look at what's the opposite of that, then the answer is probably going to be where you want to be. So this is the essence of where our discussions are going is how do we make better decisions in our life about our career and the work we do and how that makes us happy, and how do we start to position the lives of military veterans and the things it is that we can do that add positive impact to our work and how we feel about our work and our life and how we build it with intention. So thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoy the show.
Thanks for joining the Military Minute. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you're notified when a new episode is released. Is there a topic or conversation you want discussed here on the show? Send it to me at scott.cunningham@militaryminute.us.